Okay, welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Bias and Incident Reporting Work Group, Bias and Hate Incident Reporting Work Group. We have to shorten that name. Anyway,
It's a
but I'm
BHI.
Paul Bowen, I'm the chair, and we'll open up by calling a roll. Agnes, why don't you
Present.
go around the room and just say your Deb,
Hi, Deborah Dorfman.
Dan Hart.
Paul Bowen, and online we have,
Sandeep Pishardi.
we're all here. This is great. So we're off by any public comments. We can have some at the end too, or the way I run the meeting, we can have them during the meeting. We'll see what happens. But any public comments? Anybody online with comments? Okay, we're off and running. First thing, I'd like to look at the minutes, and let me just say, Magnolia, these are among the best minutes. So I'm not kidding. These are they're really good. I'll give you. I'm not a teacher, but it's an A+. I'm a really great set of minutes. You know, not too long, not too short, just right. These are the Goldilocks minutes. It's just perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, we have any comments, edits on the minutes?
Very comprehensive.
Thank you.
Sandeep, you okay?
2 thumbs up.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Motion to accept.
Mhm.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Oh, I have to call roll because we're on. Dan,
Yes, aye.
Agnes. Aye. Deb,
Aye.
Paul, yes, Sandeep?
Aye.
You're eight. Okay, we have a set of minutes. Thank you. Good minutes. Okay, we're off and rolling here. A couple of fairly straightforward things on the agenda, but I think we're going to take some time. I want to discuss. So at the last meeting, we talked about, in general, about sort of the work and the pace of our work over the next few months, and I put that together into a draft plan, which I want to go over piece by piece because I want to know from you if there's anything missing in here, and I think we should discuss the pieces as well. So, do you have a copy of the work plan?
I have it electronically.
Okay, you got it. You don't have a copy. You do?
No, I don't. Is it available in the packet?
Yes, it's in the packet.
Okay.
It's online in the packet, if anybody needs to look at it. So I broke down the work plan here in 3 phases, with some timing on it. I'll just describe this here. Phase 1 is, I'll call research, which kind of starts today and roughly goes through January. We'll see. I had February 15th as a generous end date on this kind of research phase, but we should talk about that. Phase 2, I guess, with the research that we've done to start specifying the components of the quote unquote system and the boundaries of the system, just what's in and what's out. The thinking is that we'll learn and research about the components and boundaries from other groups, and plus we're thinking without that research. And then phase 3 is actually the reporting, which is somewhere between the end of March and mid-April. I think there's an expectation right now that we'd spend the first quarter on this work and get to the select board. If it dribbles over a little bit, fine, but I think there's importance that we get this work done and do it carefully. And I'm grateful that the DI Commission has the Concord Safe piece running, which is, as Brian described it, an important piece. It's perhaps a transition piece. We'll have to see how that transitions to the reporting system, but it's clearly a way for the citizens to interact and get their concerns out through that system as well. And that's going to be up and running, I guess, fairly soon as well. So that's, and we'll have to figure out how that transitions to the system as well. So let me walk through these and kind of get your comments on the research. So first part of the research is gathering information on the structure and function of other systems. And I've listed them here. Let me, one is the high schools, the CPS, CCHS system, the school. Second one is the DI Commission pieces of the system that they put together a couple of years ago. District Attorney's Office has a system. Other Massachusetts towns that aren't named here have systems, and then universities have systems. So we're gonna have to kind of, spread that out, but I think, are there any sort of major buckets of areas that are missing from here? I tried to, have municipalities, universities.
Police?
Yes, thank you. I left it out deliberately as a test. I just don't actually I didn't. I forgot that. The police.
I also think on letter A, the first one about CHS and CCHS.
CPS.
CPS, sorry. I would think it would be helpful, whoever is doing that part, to look at some other schools, peer schools, not an exhaustive, not 350 plus, but Lexington or, just some Lincoln, Sudbury, some other ones around to have some peer comparisons, much like the way we would do with other towns and cities,
Mhm.
colleges.
I also think that it might be useful to do some sort of literature review to see if there are in the professional literature, if there's any recommended best practices for, that we could also add to this as well.
Yep, those are really good suggestions.
So Paul, along those lines, I know this is probably somewhere in phase two, but I'll admit, right, I don't have any more than my own personal experiences and things. So maybe some kind of a training for us on this working group would be helpful. I don't know if that's, we call it out specifically, or if it falls somewhere else, but I at least personally could stand to gain a whole lot from some kind of formal training.
It's a good point. I actually have that on the agenda separately as number 5. It's called discussion of possible briefings. And what I meant by that is, how could we benefit from people either training or professionals or others coming in and talking with us, somebody from the police department, somebody from the DI, other and stakeholders as well. So I want to kind of get to that, but I mean, training would be part of that, but let me table that for the moment, because I think that's a separate important discussion about part of our research and input, who would we invite to meetings to talk with us? So we'll talk about that. So CPS, CCHS, other schools to be determined. DEI, District Attorney's Office, other towns to be determined, universities to be determined, literature, police department. And we could keep thinking about that list. What I would like to do, probably tonight, or maybe sort of can cycle back to it, is assign those to people to do,
I had a feeling you were going to
the
say
research. Well, we also,
Of course.
but part of that is sort of agreeing what information do we want. I'd like us to, maybe between now and the next meeting, what is the template? What I'd like to come back with the similar information from all these systems that we could use. And maybe there's a template we can develop, so as you get this information. And so development of that template for research, I think, would really help us focus when we access this information. But let's cycle back to that. So keep in mind that I think I'd like to distribute that so we get that done in fairly short order. I put any other comments on sort of that type of research where we ought to go for information? Go ahead, Naomi.
I just wonder if you need to ask what hasn't worked. Because it's fine, everybody puts out what they've got, but when hasn't it worked? Like, we know the Concord Public Schools system, the high school system didn't work.
Well, I'm
So-
not sure it worked for the purpose it was intended. Maybe the purpose I mean, I'm
Okay,
thinking,
I'm not, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm-
just think,
I'm thinking of the system here,
Yeah.
use of the system is certainly related to this, but I'm kind of into
okay,
the piece of this, but finding out what didn't work. I think in our research, we might find out what didn't work, especially if part of this, we talk to people in Belmont, to talk to people
yeah.
in the police, if we talk to people. This is not just online research, it's
That's
talking
what
to
it-
people,
I
yeah.
just wanted
Yeah.
to add that.
Another maybe grouping of organizations is maybe social organizations, maybe ADL, maybe NAACP, all those. See if they have any recommendations or thoughts
say
on
ADL?
what something like this might look like.
The ADO?
Say
Yeah.
that again. Yes.
ADL and
A-
NAACP.
ADL,
Well,
NAACP,
the one thing that-
organization in similar vein.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's it.
Because, so it's interesting, I'll admit, I, some months ago, reached out to ADL because they have a very good tracking system. They've been doing it for many years. I used to work there. And of course, I was reminded, and I should have thought of this, that they are bringing, or they're part of a group that's bringing a complaint or a lawsuit. We can't be in touch with them during this period, just legally. So I'm not speaking about any of the other organizations you mentioned or the general idea. I'm just saying with that one in particular.
All right.
Because the subject of a complaint, we can't interact with them during that.
Makes sense. Do they have anything online?
They do. I mean, you can go in and, as if you're going to report an incident, they have it online very clearly.
So we could look at what they have.
Absolutely, yeah. We just
So
can't,
we could passively do it, not actively in engagement with them.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
okay, no, good.
Yeah.
This list is getting longer. ADL, any other,
NAACP, maybe the Southern Poverty Law Center, I think it is.
Mhm.
And again, not an expert in this, so might have to look at other organizations similar to them that might have looked into this.
I think there's another idea in the room.
I would just, thank you, go back to a point that Sandeep had made that, if there isn't an experience around the table in the beyond personal experience, of incidents of hate and bias, that training, not for looking at a particular reporting system, but training for looking at understanding this realm better, since I think from the thumbnail sketches you each gave, none of you have specific experience in hate and bias beyond your personal. Something like that to ground the body and then move from there to look at your research, and that better inform your research going forward.
Agree. So you two are jumping my agenda, right? That's okay. It's okay.
Just
Just,
different.
this is like, there's a
Different
conspiracy.
perspective from integrating with other systems, just understanding what the.
No, I completely agree. And I want to talk about that, how we get that information, because it's a little bit different than this research I'm talking about here. So this list is growing. Let's just stop there, and this is something that we can come back to, because this isn't the last time we're going to talk about this list. I did add this number 2, which is public forums ? Because I didn't know where to put it. It's a little bit of our research to get input from the public on this. That's why I called it research as opposed to outreach. We probably need to do both, but do you think at what point do you think we would like to get input from the public on building this system? What because all the questions, how to report, what incidents to report, the safety of reporting, all those questions, we probably could use public input. When do you think we need? Is that a phase 1 kind of thing, or would you like to? Should we do our research and then do it a little later? Because I'm trying to figure out when on the calendar we need to get these things.
I would advocate for doing the research first. And then doing it, and then engaging the community. Someone talked about focus groups at this last meeting, or the meeting 2 weeks ago. And there was, I think, and there was cost associated with that. So I don't know about that, but I do like the idea of engaging the community once we have compiled research.
I like the idea of having a meeting and that's well publicized and just getting input. I think focus groups, I'm not sure.
Well, the focus groups though, I mean, I don't actually think, I'm not sure what the costs would be, but I mean, I don't work for the town, so you guys
Yeah.
have to tell me, but I mean, there are gonna be people who just coming to a meeting isn't gonna work for them. It's just not gonna be accessible to them. And I want to make sure that we're inclusive and being able to get to folks who just aren't, they're not gonna be able to be online. They're not gonna be able to come. And so, I mean, I'm personally happy to go out and do them myself, with whoever wants to, if the group agrees to do that.
And they might not be comfortable, even if they do come to the big meetings, speaking up.
Yeah.
You'll get good, valuable feedback from some people, but some of the smaller interactions, I think, could be helpful for others.
But so you're basically saying a focus group is not a public meeting. It's sort of run by either one of us or a facilitator.
I mean, I
Both,
think
I
you were
think.
saying that,
Hmm?
well, I don't think, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, no, go ahead,
Go
please.
ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I don't think, I mean, somebody has to facilitate it, but I think any one of us can do that if we agree, like what the process will be. I recall that you were saying there's some rule about being a public meeting so that you can't have more than a certain number of members there. And again, I'm sorry, I just don't know the exact rules. And so however we could do it and also conform to the rules to make sure that it's open, that it doesn't violate anything, in terms of being able to do this in this context. I just think it would be helpful, because I just want to make sure everything's successful.
So the focus group, how do we gather the people for that group? How is that?
Well, I've done this before
Yeah, no,
in
that's
the
what I'm
context
asking.
of the protection and advocacy system in Connecticut when I worked there. And so what we would do is go to different places where, like, there may be, for example, like an assisted living facility or another place where people are that, where they're not going to be able to easily come to a meeting. And we just talk to the people there and ask, can we have a meeting there or at, some other community group or whatever, and then just set it up and just go there. And maybe there's like a room that they have and just talk with people. What I've done is just to have people come into the room, or I mean, even individually talk to people if that's needed to get input and make that something available to people if they want that.
One thing I think we might be cognizant of is time, because it's not it's going to be hopefully a living document, but we can't capture everything. Maybe we need to identify some key focus groups that we want to target, such as those in elder living facilities, and then instead of saying that we're going to do a scope of several, because that is going to take us time in addition to the existing research that we need to make. And plus, there's a lot of resources available that are already in existence that instead of replicating the system, we might need to borrow from, given cost, time, and our and the cost of running meetings and how long we need to drag this on.
So
Yeah.
can I ask a question? Paul, I think this discussion started with asking when that public forum would be appropriate. I feel you could justify it both ways, right? It depends on what the purpose of the forum is. If it's to gather information to drive the research, it makes sense to do it before. If it's having that forum to go and share what we found and gather feedback on that, then it makes sense to have it after. So I really think it's up to us to determine what we want from that forum before we decide when it should be.
Completely agree. The more I think about my understanding of focus groups, and it's largely in the political realm, if I have any experience,
You have trauma from?
they usually set up to test market a candidate. It's sort of so you're basically going in there with a point of view or something to get a reaction to, rather than an open-ended thing. What would you like in the system? So I think that too should probably follow at some point when we have a concept to kind of
Mm.
run by a focus group if we're gonna do that. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. I think it could be either way. I mean, when I've done it, it's the process I was using was to get input from the community about what my agency's priorities and objectives should be. So basically, what is it that you folks in the community want us to work on? That was the purpose of it. So we were just getting information. We weren't trying to test anything or, we're just trying to make sure that people had input. What if we did sort of like a combination of things so that there's, on one hand, the opportunity to have input, and then, and I mean, maybe this is overkill, but then another kind of public forum or other outreach so that we then, after we get input from folks in the community, we research whatever order that is or concurrently. And then once we have some things that we want to propose, I would think then we would want to also bring that to the community and say, here's some ideas we have. What do y'all think?
Exactly.
And before we finalize anything. So is that possible to do?
Yeah, but I think you're right that there's this need to get input up front and then this need to get reaction to
Yeah.
a system. Here's what we've come up with after 4 months. That's sort of the straw man before we go to do our reports. I think it's two pieces.
Would you use it? The question is, here's some new ideas we have. Could you see yourself using it? What's missing, what's good, exactly, like testing it so that we get some feedback before we just sort of deliver something.
Okay, Deborah, could you come to the next meeting sort of with the concept of sort of this public outreach, public forum
Yeah.
duo, and put that on the agenda, because that's something I think we really need to spend some time on. So we need forums / focus groups, but exactly when and what those are in the work plan here. That's why I had public forums question mark. I didn't know where they went. Any other thoughts on that topic?
Are we going to divide and conquer?
You want to do that now? Or you're anxious to sign up for something?
I mean,
Okay, yeah. Good, let's stick in phase 1 here. So schools. I wonder who could do schools.
Sandeep is
Is
already.
there anyone?
Yeah.
No. I'll take that. I think that
Okay,
is-
but other schools too,
Yep.
however you want to define that, and I guess.
Yeah, so I think I'll probably start with obviously CPSN and the high school, the schools in neighboring towns and the private schools within our town.
Yeah, I don't want to make it too easy for you because you already know what we're doing. So, no, I'm kidding. So
Universities too, you can add.
take all, the schools, and I think that would probably include, I don't know what Concord Academy is doing, Middlesex, I don't know what any
Right.
private schools are doing.
And Fenn and all of them.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
National-
Lexington.
So A is Sandeep. May not be the only one you sign up for.
No, okay.
What the DI commission has done, look, who could do that?
I already represent and I have members who are eager to sell, yeah.
Yeah.
Coordinate that.
Thank you. We'll come back to you in a minute. I'll take the DA's office. Okay, because I think Mark Howell has already been in contact with DA Ryan on this in an earlier stage, so. Okay. Other Massachusetts towns.
I'd be happy to do that if no one else wants to.
Okay.
Hey, Paul, I don't know if I know there's a Massachusetts Commission Against Discrimination or something. Does that fall under the DA's office or would that be
Do
you know?
That's a state
state?
agency.
Okay.
I mean, but actually you raise a good point because the governor has stuff that she's put
Right.
out, and so, I mean, I'm happy to look at the state stuff if you want.
There's also
Okay.
a task force right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, can I make an assignment here?
go right ahead.
Since you mentioned, can you do the literature?
Yep.
Yeah, and I can, I mean, we have a massive system with the Department of Public Health. I can see what they have, and different departments, bureaus have different, about maybe 10 there, but I can both.
So you're gonna do the state.
Not the state, I say Department of Public Health.
No, no,
They-
no, 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 no.
I can do DPH,
No,
DCF, and
What's the governor doing? I mean,
oh, it's a lot. It's
well,
like a country.
feel free to decline. But I think what's going on in the state, including government, I think that's kind of a
So-
package.
So
Let's want to do all the
Will-
universities.
no, I'll say I can do a couple of state agencies, and then maybe we can evolve as need
Okay.
need arises.
It's a good head.
And
That's
which
fine.
one are you doing? At the AG's office or which one?
I can do the AGs and the
And-
governor,
Yeah.
with you.
No, I'm not doing the governor's
I'll
one. I
do
know
that.
there's
I'll do
state
that.
agents.
Yeah. You'll do the DCF and DPH?
DCF, DPH. I'll come up with a couple.
Okay, so
Um,
I'll do the governor's office, and the AG.
Are you taking these notes?
Well, sorry.
Oh, it's on the recording. Oh, good. I think-
Yeah,
Forgot.
that-
Health and
Good.
Human
I'm
Services.
scribbling.
You'll do that.
I'll do Health and Human
Okay.
Services.
Okay.
agencies.
Yeah.
I'll do the police department. Online for other, ADL, NAACP, other.
I can do that.
You wanna take that on?
Yeah. Not, yeah.
That's Dan. Are we missing anything? We may be
What about
missing,
universities.
oh, the
Yeah.
universities. Who's missing?
700 of them.
I will do the universities too.
That's what AI is for. You can scope.
Hey, Agnes, did the
Yeah, good
DI
friend.
Commission, did the DI Commission already do some of the legwork on universities?
I'm sorry, say it again?
I think the DI Commission had done some of the work on the universities when they looked at this in the past, or maybe I'm misremembering things. So some of that may already be
Sure.
done.
Can't hear you.
With that.
What's the
They
question?
say the DI commission has done the spade work with universities. I think that's what he said, right?
Yes, that is what I said.
Andrea
Yes.
might have some, yeah.
If you want to know really, you have to connect with the work and reports that Andrea and that the subgroup worked on.
So I will.
Yeah, so, yeah, go through that portal. It may connect with the universities, but which universities I'll figure out. I think for our next meeting, we'll kind of get this list and some detail and as far as a template for this research. We need one.
We need a Google Doc, yeah.
Any volunteers for taking a first shot at developing a template? I mean, I can do that unless somebody is passionate about that.
So just to clarify, when you say a template, is that so that we're making sure to get like seeking, like asking this question sort of consistently across the board?
Yeah,
Is that
what do we want to
you're-
find out from this research so we can kind of merge it pretty
like a
easily?
protocol? I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's pretty logical. It's along the lines of, the next topic, the components, but I'll put that together. So that's the research. Do we think we can get that done by the end of January?
That's
No,
fair.
I'm not going to be available for December through first week of January, so.
I think it's true for a lot of us. We'll discuss our meeting schedule.
Yeah, is there any flexibility to move in a little bit in February?
Yeah. Yeah, holidays, yeah.
Because we'd lose a chunk of December, I think, is a concern.
Let's see where we're at the end of January, sure. Yeah. But these aren't hard deadlines. But just
Remember, we're volunteers.
really,
We have jobs, we have families, we have other beeswax, yeah. Yeah.
I have a fatal flaw. That's the kind of running, carrying work groups, like, with the deadline, we originally, I promised the
Mhm.
select board by December 31st. Silly me, why'd I do that?
That was ambitious.
But now, I'm sort of, the expectation is the end of the first quarter. I wouldn't want it to go to the end of the
Okay.
second quarter. Okay, because I think there's some urgency in
Yeah.
doing this,
So here, it says February 15th, research.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would make us, like, do we have to be done with the research, or are we presenting findings of the research on February 15th?
Good question. I think we would have a meeting. Well, first of all, these templates, we would put it into our SharePoint system, right? We'd all look at that.
Mhm.
And we'd have a meeting to kind of, what have we learned that's consistent? And because out of that, we want to start developing our own system. We want to take the best information, best practices
Mm.
that are appropriate and pull it out. So, yeah, so about mid-February, we'd probably be in a position to kind of start putting this structure
Yeah.
on this. No. Do you have any thoughts on any of this?
It seems pretty ambitious. The timetable. I mean, I feel like for me, I would need to have the research in order to feel comfortable having conversations. Because of what Michael said, that we, we all have our own experience, but we don't have some of us don't have professional training, and so it does. It seems ambitious. That's.
Well, maybe
It is ambitious.
I mean, one thing maybe we should factor in is, like, given Michael's point about the training and like that we wanted to do that first, and then do we want to do the research, or can that happen concurrently, but having the training sooner rather than later? I think I was hearing Michael say that the training should happen first. What I think.
So can I chime in? I think what Paul mentioned a little bit ago is very important, right? This is something that is urgent, and I don't think we can let perfect be the enemy of the good, right? We start with the research again. I think anything we do by the end of January or something, but by no means is it going to be perfect. By no means is it going to be every single system that we look at. But I think we'll have a decent idea on what the next steps are, and obviously we can go back and revisit. Well, I think you had what? Let me look at the agenda here. April is the interim brief, right? Or mid-April is the brief to select board. I think we should have something by February. If not, that just keeps getting stressed out. And then it'll be summer.
I don't think this research part is as hard as you think.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time. But it's not a lot of analysis. And if you look at phase 2, what do we want out of a system? And I'll just look at it here, because this is going to be the template. What is an incident report? What type of incidents are reported? What type of data? Who reports? Who receives the report? What are the mechanisms of reporting? The barriers to reporting, you probably get some of that from talking rather than online. Is there a verification process? So I think let's hold this. It is ambitious. Let's hold this timing now for the research. If it takes longer, we'll know it. But I think once we have the sort of template for, okay, what do we want to find out? I don't think it'll be that difficult. I don't.
For me, what I was envisioning it, for example, with the state, and they have visible documents that they use for incident reporting. So I would just collecting samples and dump them. And then we can evaluate the data and see what we need.
You can, yeah,
Yeah, like
the,
because yeah,
you sound like a real project manager. Right? The deliverable of this first task is a filled out template
yeah,
with whatever supporting information you
yes,
need.
yes.
You can have 1,000 pages of reporting information, but we're gonna look at this template
Mhm.
and we're gonna look at that, yeah, this is very common. These systems have this in common. This is different. We ought to adapt that for Concord. This is, something's missing here. So,
Yeah,
You're part of the data gathering though is finding out what these agencies, entities are doing with the data that they're collecting, like how are they? What's their process to receive it? How are they adjudicating it, right?
well, it's focusing on, so what's in the system, what's reported, how it's reported. Not so much what comes up, the question of how the data are gonna be used by whom. That's not part of this
Okay,
research
so
right
you
now.
just wanna gather
This is
what's being collected.
what's being collected and how it's being
And how it's
collected
being
and who
collected.
reports and, it's
Good.
sort of that. I think the data output, which comes a little late, that's really important. I mean, you could argue to build the system, you gotta figure out who the users are first. But then let's do the research, and we're not gonna build the system until we understand who the users are. But that's sort of phase two, so. There's kind of a method to my madness here, so bear with me. So that's the data collection, and let's figure out the forums and the public outreach a little bit. The second phase is really specifying the components of and the boundaries of the system, which includes the definition and categorization of incidents. You mentioned it isn't. What are we gonna report here? How do we characterize none of the categories, but what levels of reporting? And this, for me, this has always been kind of interesting. We want to report everything. What does that mean? We don't want to limit reporting to just what is sort of on the hate crime end of things, right? Because that's the police department. We want to move down, we want to lower the bar. Whatever that means, that what people feel, makes people feel uncomfortable, marginalized, ignored. So I don't know how to define all those and how many levels there are, but I think that's what we want to report. So when we create a reporting system, people know if they ask themselves, should I report this? Yeah, you should report that. It's not too minor an incident. I don't know. That's kind of the thinking. That's what I'm talking about, the categorization of incidents.
I do think somewhere along the way, it's worthwhile to either educate or remind both people of the difference between a hate crime and a hate incident. I totally agree that lowering the bar here is totally the right thing to do. That's the whole point of this. But there are a lot of people who don't know the difference and don't know what to do when something like this happens. Maybe that's not our charge. Maybe that's further down the road, but I think that educational piece is very important.
I think, because the semantics, you go, what bias and hate, there's bias and hate incidents are similar, but hate crimes are different. Yeah, I think we have to define that, what an incident is versus.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we define the range of incidents, because those are important. But trying to get to, and I don't think we have a lot of problem in town and crime, on the crime part of it. I think we have a lot of underreporting on the incident part of it. Just a thought. So I think with the information that we get out of our research and when we get public input at that point, we're going to start answering these questions. What is an incident report? What's the level of data? Detail intensity, what I mean by that. So what does it look like when somebody reports? Do they check a box? Do they have a narrative? What's the intensity of that information we want to capture?
yeah. I think you have to give it both. There's some people who would benefit from just checking off the box for type of incident. And then you give space for if they want to describe what the incident is. If they don't want and it fits within that box, then they submit. If they want to write up, then they write in the additional comments, type in or whatever, and then hit submit or print out or mail whatever mechanism we have available. But it has to have
You're,
space for both.
you're right. And some of the reporting forms that I've seen have just that.
Mhm.
You know, they're pretty flexible. We want to make it easy for people, easy and safe and simple for people to
Mhm.
report.
And grade five, understand, we call it fifth grade level of understanding that in terms of accessibility and literacy, it has to be in fifth grade
Yeah.
level understanding.
Do they
And-
have to have a computer?
While we're at it,
I don't know.
multilingual too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it's gonna have to,
Mhm.
yeah. And accommodations.
So these are, phase two is not something we do tonight, but it's
Yep.
for, you know, and that sort of occurs, so after we do our research, February and March, part of that. Because I think by the end of that, we'll have a pretty good idea what this system needs to look like and exactly how much we specify the system. We have to talk about, I mean, there's this, we're not developing we're not developing the system. We're going to develop the concept of the system to turn over to brief the select board to town manager. The implementation of the system, once everybody agreed, yeah, this is it. It involves IT professionals and others. Well, we're not gonna create the final system. We're going to create the framework for that system to be implemented by others. I think that's where we want to end up. So define the components of the system and then the data outputs. So we have a system. We want to make it, the system has to accommodate users, has to accommodate the nature. What's the nature of the output for this?
Well, who oversees it, I guess, at the end of the day, once this is developed, it's the town, right? Who's getting these reports? Like, I'm assuming,
I think that's part of, you'll make a recommendation, don't you think, on who will be receiving and how we're going to.
But we're gonna need some input from that, from the users in the town, just what that looks like, what the output looks like. So the scorecard is, what's it called, is a
Dashboard?
dashboard. It has to have trends over time,
Right.
you know, just, and we want it set up so it can be used, so. We'll probably have to, part of our briefing, probably have to people come in and talk to us about that. And who gets the data output and who uses it, probably multiple people use it. Yeah, I want sort of the town to be able to use it, I'd want the DI commission to be able to use it, and multiple users, system that's accessible. For what purpose, that has to be decided. We are not investigative unit. I don't think the DI commission is an investigative unit. The town may want to dig into some of that and take the data and do more with the researchers. So, but I think the data should support multiple purposes, which aren't totally defined yet. Number 5, data integration with other systems. And what I mean by that is, so we have a town system. To what extent can this be merged with the school system, for example? What aspects of the school system? And yeah, it's not something for us to decide could be amenable to this. And I'm thinking this isn't to breach any confidentiality, but is there the range of types of incidents? That 11 of these types, 12 of these types, can that information come out of the school system? I don't know. We'll see. But can it be merged with other systems? I'd like it to be. I'd like at the end of this to be a sort of a Concord system and not just a town system and a school system. But that the two systems somehow can talk to each other. We're not gonna have one big system because the schools need their own system. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying how can we can merge the information? And then part of that second phase is the data uses. And then phase 3 is the report, where we recommend the structure, the management, the community uses of reporting system. Consisting of existing and new elements, one that's simple, safe, and confidential, and what the form of that report is, I don't know whether it's a full report or is a PowerPoint presentation. We'll have to talk.
We, before phase 3, also the ability to refer for those we don't have jurisdiction for, the ability to refer. Do you want to refer, for example, to the police department, or do you want to refer to the schools, vice versa, or refer to the ADL's or AG's office? There's some incidents that may not be able to be handled within town, or might need more follow-up, higher entity. So the ability to refer out.
Refer out and refer in. He said,
Yeah.
if there is a crime, it's gonna go to the police first, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not gonna go through this system.
Yes.
But we wanna be able to kind of capture that. We wanna be able to grab things from other systems. That's why we need to know what's in those systems. You know, how much grabbing we can do, it depends on what the other systems are. And when and how this integrates with what the DI commission is starting right now, Concord Safe. I don't know exactly what it's gonna look like, but there can be hopefully some data collected between now and April, right? And
Can I ask, is Concord Safe the interim, is that the interim system until we present something?
I think it's describe the system in one words.
You want to go ahead? Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hold in place via the web where people can see, if I do want to talk to somebody, I can go to the Concord Safe and it would direct me to the police department, or talk about the school reporting system. And it gives them other resources like AG's office, other places, just so there's somewhere to go.
Yeah.
That's the idea behind it. And then I think Brian on our commission is trying to work on branding a Concord Safe, so it creates a visual and a word, so that when our town system is in existence, it might just switch right over. Sort of a holding plot.
Yeah, it's not so much a data gathering system, it's a communication.
Just a reporting mechanism, but not,
Yes.
It's like a referral system.
Yeah,
right?
for now, yeah, it's like, for what we do have, here's what you can do.
Yeah.
Submit.
I don't, the way you describe it, I don't see it as a transition, I see it as a separate use that kind of has
But
a life of its own, but
years
it's
after
integrated.
now, I may make this up, right? Concord has a supporting system, you would just know I go to Concord Safe because I already seen the posters around town and I just know where to go. That's the idea behind it.
Yes.
And somebody might want to report it to the town, but also may want to report it to the Attorney General's office, or may want to the Massachusetts Human Rights Commission, or whatever they are, and who knows, any other entity that they want to file a report with.
So we've talked in detail. Overall, does this seem like the right elements of a plan, the right phasing? The timing, I know we're still, don't beat me up yet about the timing, but I mean, but in terms of the phasing, is that seem about right?
It does.
Any folks in the town? This could be usable when it's done? You don't have to answer that.
I hope it's gonna be usable when it's done, but I'm getting a little anxious again about to me, we're gonna collect and refer everything to professionals, to other agencies. I don't know what we're going to be able to handle in-house, and this has been the cause of my anxiety all along, is creating an expectation that there is a service available in the existing organization to address these issues. There can be, but there isn't right now. And so I just want to make sure we keep that in mind, because that we could design the best system and it's gonna fail if we can't deliver on what we're communicating to people that we're offering.
Does that involve hiring more people or another person to sort of manage it?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what's gonna come
Yeah.
in, right? You know, if it's all things that we can effectively refer to other agencies, then, you know, probably not. But if we're struggling to understand about where to refer and we're getting a lot in, that could be problematic.
Yeah, I don't see this as a referral system as much as an education system. You know, where are we, you know, lots of things have happened in the past few months in town, so where are we on the spectrum of like bias and hate incidents, and are we getting better over time? And, you know, there's a lot of community discussion. I view this information as helping to educate the community. You know, where are we, what to do about it? What to do about it is not, I think, it's not just a town management issue. I think it's a community, you know, so that, and the community groups that can take this information and run with it. So I don't think the burden is all just on the town what to do with it. I think this is a community resource. Ooh.
Just
Does that make sense?
Well, I guess I would assume though that in addition to what the community can do, that the town would take the information and at least in part be using it, the data for performance improvement to develop a
Absolutely.
performance improvement project, or, you know, to use that language, but to look at what can the town do, and hopefully that, when I say town, I'm also talking about the school with the town, obviously keeping in mind the FERPA and other kind of confidentiality rules, but that doesn't prevent the schools and the town working together to come up with ways to improve so that we hopefully can have less and maybe totally eliminate these kinds of incidents. That would be great, but working towards reduction.
This is an important conversation. We're not, you know, why are we building the system? What are we gonna do with it? I think we all think we have a sense this is important, but I think we need to be, our thinking this has to evolve to something more tangible by the end. So we say, yeah, this is what we're gonna, this is what we, the town and the community groups are gonna do with it. And it's all about improving, this is measuring and improving. How those improvements take place. It's yet to be decided, I guess. Okay, so action items for the next meeting on this is slightly fuller list of these research assignments, because I'll confirm them. Fuller meaning we talked about universities. For one, you have a list of the universities I'm looking into. What other Massachusetts towns we're looking into?
Yep.
And then, and I'll try to put together a template for gathering this research information. So that's the action item out of this phase one for the next meeting. Okay. We haven't decided what that is yet. Any other discussion of the work plan?
Can I ask
Yeah.
it's a miscellaneous question connected to our last meeting. I know we had talked about some questions about open meetings, but the whole idea of an incident report and confidentiality, and then the legal not ramifications, but legal aspects. And we had talked about maybe seeking advice from counsel. I just wanted to know if that's still an ongoing I'm not looking at it, I'm just asking it. That
Next,
seemed like a very pertinent.
it's the next agenda topic.
Nope, okay, perfect. I'm trying to, I guess I'm part of this,
Segue,
part of
beautiful.
the party to jump the agenda, sorry.
Yeah, so, although Sandeep and Michael try to jumpstart this topic, so, and I include training in here, so what do we need to help educate us in terms of the system, the users, the legality? And I'd like to start thinking about what types of briefings and who we might invite here to our meetings. And we don't have that many meetings before April, if you count them. But I think that's an important component of future meetings, is to have at least a briefing per meeting to help us.
So we'll start.
Okay, let's start town council. And this could be, could be virtual or it could be in person.
Police.
Police. On the training side, what type of person, I'm not exactly sure what that means. Help me more with the training part of this. Yeah,
To make a suggestion, I think for training, from listening to the group, I know we had to do this, the DI commission, you need like a little 101 on hate and bias for yourselves. So you come up with a common meaning of what you all on the group think. Because you may think you're thinking the same thing, but until you have a little outside input, and there are consultants that the towns use that we, of HR, other groups have brought into town that are local that could come in and just facilitate like a good hour with you. I would suggest that might be a good kind of training. And the second one would be, you should have Andrea come in and just walk you through the system that DEI commission developed, even if you don't use any of it, just so you understand the thinking, because she did a lot of this work and she's a professional and does that for a living. So that's the two, in terms of training as an outsider, but a DEI commission member, what I suggest.
Cause I need to leave, but, my name is Jimmy Two Feathers, I'm on the DEI commission. I'm also been an emergency planner, especially during Y2K. And I want to say that Hull, Massachusetts, you want to write this down, where they were the first ones in the area to do no hate campaign years and years ago. All of this stuff that we're talking about doing is already done. It would really help you to look at what other towns have done for incident reporting that they actually have in place and have a track record with. So there's no need to reinvent the wheel.
Are you talking about No Place for Hate?
Yeah, in Hull, Massachusetts, they were the first one over almost 30 years ago.
Because No Place for Hate was through ADL. I don't know if that's the same thing you're.
No, it's not. It
Oh,
was
something
the town-
different.
It was the town, they were one of the first towns in New England to put up their own system of reporting incidents. I'm just saying that there, and since then, it's been replicated. I worked on the reverse 911 dielectric system for the town of Acton, Concord. So there are all these systems now that already exist. It'd be
Yeah.
good to do some research and
Yeah. You missed topic one. We are not reinventing the wheel. We are building a wheel from other people's spokes
yeah.
and hubs. And yeah, and there's a lot. This absolutely is a lot out there. I just felt in this, we needed to spend the time and understanding it so we could build something that includes best practices, best and appropriate practices. Concord's not like every other town. Size, demographic, so and we need to build something that we feel is appropriate for us. Exactly what that is, we'll figure that out. Your suggestion on hate and bias 101, what,
There,
who?
I think it's Carlos Hoyt, the school districts used him, First Parish used him, he lives in Lexington. He's a consultant that you could bring in that can do nice, I'm sure there's many others, just sort of like the basics. Something like that, I think. And offline, I don't want to take it, but you can ask
Yeah.
any of us, will help you. with
Okay,
the resource.
okay. I just want to identify the types of people: town council, police chief, hate and bias 101, Andrea specific, as an investigator. She,
Yeah.
right?
And so when you look at the DI
Yeah,
sample, you
yeah.
understand what the heck you know, it's complicated, like the school district, a lot of arrows and triangles.
How about potentially use anybody on town staff? That'd be good to talk to, Harry.
Well, I think police, I think that's probably the best place. The only other thing I was thinking is somebody from the DA's office, since we have a lot of, we seem to work more with the DA's office, the school seems to work more with the AG's office. I'm not even sure the
Huh,
difference,
that's
but,
That's interesting.
Is that because of the state represents the Department of Ed, the DESI?
you know, it may be that, I just know when we have anything with the police department, we go to the DA's office. I know some of the school incidences, the connection was with the AG's office.
Okay, DA's office.
Might someone from the psychosocial aspect, mental health, social support be in order? Because something that generates either a bias incident or a hate incident or crime usually has some trauma associated.
So at the town level, we have multiple social workers in different. We have our community social worker, we have social workers inside of the Council on Aging. We have a
Human services.
yeah, well, sure, I mean, we have a veterans agent, we have somebody embedded in the police department who is a social worker, so we have a number of people. If you wanted to do a panel, we could bring in different. They're all kind of working with different age groups or different types of activities.
How do we figure that out? We could do a panel, but what exactly is this advice we're looking for from this person? Yeah,
I'm wondering if there was somebody who could moderate some anecdotes. Like what has happened that we know of? And some of the incidents that feel like incidents to some people, other people have no idea that it was offensive or that it was traumatizing. And just for the group here to have somebody to be able to talk with about this happened and that person hadn't the slightest idea that they had done anything offensive. But we need somebody who could moderate that, I don't think.
well, I think they're talking about sort of the public forum type of input. No,
No, because, or because when you have a public forum or you have speakers, you never get down to the nitty gritty.
well,
Like
but
what happened?
but
What did it mean when that sign went up that said
yeah,
whites only in some form?
Mhm.
Some people had no idea that that could be upsetting. But how do you have a conversation about that? Not in abstract, but like this.
no, I
happened.
agree, but I'm just thinking who. Is there a generalist that could represent all that? Are we talking about individuals with different incidents?
Well, somebody knows what all the incidents in town have been, that's, we at least know about. And then there are the ones that aren't acknowledged, so maybe somebody could collect some of them and just say, let's sit and talk about them. What is it we're really dealing with here? And what do we, if we're saying we want to change things, is it people's awareness that these things are bias incidents or? You know,
We definitely want to raise awareness, yeah.
how do we touch people's hearts about this?
So this really is different from what I'm hearing you say is this is different from outreach. This is sort of inreach, right? And bringing this information as like a training for us,
Right.
right? That's what you're saying, just to make sure that getting that clear.
I mean, we hear the commission ends up being a place where a lot of these stories get told, either in person or by email or in the shops. People say this happened. So if you wanted help, we could help you find people who may want to come and sit here and just talk to you about what it feels like or what happened to them with their child on the bike path. Or when I was in the store, how I was followed, or just maybe hearing some of those stories might help inform the system you create. As part of it, it is a training, but less of a speaker and more of like personal.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just thinking how we do that efficiently.
Well,
And,
if
you
you
know-
arrange the time, we can figure out, I'll help you to get people. We know people talk, right? We know people in town, they have stories to tell.
Okay. We did call this input stories. This is a reminder.
And Michael has it too.
Hi.
I guess I agree. And I agree that this is a training for the body. But I think it goes beyond anecdote. I think, and this is where I go back to the training with someone that is steeped in the discipline. Just to give a 101 on hate and bias and how it presents itself so that it gives you a grounding on how to step forward, a grounding on how to look at all the different research that you've done and give each of you some understanding as to, maybe that's why this worked, or maybe that's why that didn't work. And this is how possibly how it could apply to our community. But without a grounding in the discipline of looking at hate and bias across a variety of different disciplines, beyond anecdotes, I think that's what the body needs. So then you can take that, look at all the different private schools, public schools, universities, institutions, and say, with that grounding, this works, or this makes sense. I know it doesn't. But I think the body needs that grounding before you step forward. And I would argue that that's something to look at before you do your research, before you do your focus groups or community outreach, because it's sort of like a doctor going to a patient saying, so how would you like me to take your appendix out? You need to sort of understand, you need to have the understanding of
Yeah.
Yeah,
how it's gotten disease first and how it works and how it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, not to minimize the input stories, but I think the grounding for us is more, is important.
Because all of us also have our own biases too, that we need to
yeah,
offload and be aware of,
Right.
and then.
Yeah. Well, it's to your point that we all think we might be on the same page, for lack of a better term,
Right.
but we may not have the same shared definition
right.
until you kind of spell it out.
Any other briefings? Possible briefing?
Well, the legal, not to keep going back to the legal thing, but the legal thing.
I did for town council and law,
Oh, counsel, I'm sorry, I missed that. Never mind.
town lawyer.
SES.
Yeah, thanks. I got it. Exactly. I was thinking like, right, exactly. CIL versus SES.
So let me follow up on that. What, if I were to try to call up Mean and say, come on, and what do we want him to? So we're developing a system with the legal constraints, the legal trappings. What are we? What are you thinking?
I think the baseline question is, can we tell people that they can report something confidentially, anonymously? Is that, which is what I think we all want, but there was some question about that at the last meeting. About
Right.
whether, Yeah.
Because the issue will be, what is a public record? I mean, there's a legal definition to all of this, but like, to the extent that somebody comes and gives information, can we really say 100%, this is not gonna, we don't have to, we won't turn this over when there's a public records request? Not sure that, we have to think about that.
Right.
I mean, I am a lawyer. I know, I know about a lot of this stuff, but I'm not gonna give the town any legal advice. But the question will be, what can we really say to people? Because we want people to feel safe. So we have to be realistic about what we are able to really keep confidential and what we might end up having to turn over in a public records request or as a result of a subpoena in the event that the town gets sued, or we're just subject to a third party subpoena. And, we have to respond to it,
Oh.
the town, things like that. And,
If something is reportable, to let them know that you're going to report to the police or whatever. If it's a crime, you can't tell the person that it's going to be confidential when you really have to report that information.
right, and then there's the question of, is the town a mandated reporter, who gets that information? Some people are mandated to report abuse and neglect. If, let's say that something happens to a child, then DCF may need to get a report, or, the police, so there's all these kinds of things that we just have to sort out, which I don't need to make it so.
No, but I think
complicated,
that's so important and fundamental to what
Yeah,
we're doing.
yeah,
Cause like elder, there's the Department of elder something, and they do have a reporting mechanism and incident. So when you call, they can choose to investigate, but they would also need more information from the reporter to see. Yeah, so there's a.
Yes. Do we need input on boundaries? I'm thinking specifically incidents in the schools or school incident, as long as they occur in the school building. If they occur outside, I don't know about parking lots, but outside, if the school kid the same day leaving school, it's not a school incident anymore. I'm just that transition for me, because there's a lot of
It's on the way to and the way from is the legal definition. If something happens on the way to school, on the way home from school, generally.
that's school, that's a school incident, and those are reported.
Just the way districts usually do it.
It can be reported to the school system. Now, if it happens in a playground on a weekend, it wouldn't be, although, the impact of that still would be felt in the schools.
We need some clarity on that. Do we need somebody from the schools to actually talk to us about that boundary? What do you think?
Would not be a bad idea, although I think the town council might be able to help us. Again, I'm not opposed to having the folks from the school come and talk. I don't want to prolong the process too much, that's all.
I definitely think an attorney would be a good person to have this conversation with, because there will be sort of what the legal requirements are and where the lines are.
So I have a little list here. I think, top of my head, I think the order of importance here, hate and bias 101, I think is pretty important to us. Number 2, I think town council is pretty important. I consider the DA's office and the police chief to kind of set the balance of that. I'm talking to Andreas, social support services, I think would be right after that. So those are kind of the top 6 I have right now. Hate and bias 101, town council, DA's office, police chief or somebody from police. Andrea, DI, social worker to be determined. Those are the 6 that I have.
There's so the hate and bias training is there, but then we can identify who the trainer is, such as Carlos that
Well, I got one name. We'll go offline.
Yeah, I sent you these in phone cases.
Yeah. I'm not sure we'll need funds for support coming in as a consultant, so we'll find out. Okay. Any other thoughts on briefings? And we're gonna cycle through all these topics again at the next meeting.
It seems like a pretty solid foundation.
I think it's a good solid foundation. Okay, dates for the next meetings. It's always fun. So I'd like to, what are we in November? I'd like to have two more meetings before the end of the year, if we can.
You're gonna say before the end of the month. I thought you were gonna say before the end of the month.
Before the end of the week.
Anxiety was gonna get.
Come on, I'm not that bad.
Yes.
Okay,
I want to sleep a holiday time.
Well, remember the week of the 15th is Hanukkah. Well, I don't need to tell you. Sorry.
No, it's,
That was completely insensitive.
no, it wasn't.
Hanukkah's 8 nights, it gets,
Yeah, and also I'm
it gets in the way.
totally good.
I have to keep reminding people, so.
Yeah, no,
Remind
totally
people.
fine. No, totally fine. I can always use reminders.
Okay, so we're the 18th, 2 weeks from now is, what are we,
That's the second, December 2nd.
December 2nd? So the week of December 1st, let's decide on a date, the week of
No,
December
we're
1st,
Meeting on Monday.
yeah? So we meet on Monday. How does Thursday of that week look? December 4th?
I was hoping you're gonna say that.
Hmm?
I was hoping you're gonna say that.
I read your
Seem to have a
mind.
power right now, yeah.
December
Uh,
4th?
The one open day that week, so good pick.
Ooh,
Wow,
December 4th,
that's
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Okay,
December fourth.
we want to roll
Yep.
here so far.
December 4th at 6.
And 2 weeks later is December 18th.
Anything after.
I'm sorry, you're not here? When do you leave?
Oh,
For wherever you going?
Time,
Excuse me?
that time, the.
I'm in the same place,
So what about the
Yeah.
week of the,
actually.
anything open the week of the 15th?
Monday.
Like Monday or Tuesday of that week?
So Monday,
Select-
Hanukkah.
There's a select board meeting.
Yeah, I can't do it
No,
Monday.
we don't. The meetings, the select board meetings are the 8th and the 22nd.
Let's, I'm not having a meeting with you, I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Tuesday, the 16th,
Yeah, that works
That
for
would
me.
work.
Tuesday, Sandeep, that okay?
That does not work for me. It's
Does not.
honors ensemble in high school, or sorry, the middle school.
I presume the next week is out. It certainly is.
The 15th, no? You can do that.
Can we do the 11th? So it's a weekend, I mean. It's 2 weeks in a row, but
I'm sorry, I can't do it. on-
Do we really have to have 2 meetings in December? It's holiday time. I'm sounding like a kid, but seriously.
You know that expression, it could have been an email, we didn't need to meet, that's what I'm thinking.
Like, yeah, December is hard.
Well, if you want, I'll try to rearrange something and try to do for the.
to answer your question, we don't really have to. But I would really like to, because I want to keep,
The moment.
we're gonna lose time. You know, it'll be the end of January before we know it.
So, I mean, if the evening's set up, I'm not opposed to a midday, in one of those weeks or one of those
You got a
days.
lot of head shaking.
I already see, I can shake
A lot of head shaking.
If it helps, I'll rearrange something for the 15th, Monday, the 15th, and for that one Monday.
Sandeep, could you do Monday, the 15th?
I can do Monday the 15th.
You can?
Yes, affirmative.
Okay, Monday, the 15th?
Didn't we say it's Hanukkah? I can, but
But it's,
I'm Christian.
I am too.
that's it.
It's not Hanukkah, is it? lose track.
Putting me on the spot here.
Is it
First,
First, I think,
First
first thing,
There it is.
that's what, when
Okay.
Apple Calendar said.
My Apple calendar doesn't tell me that.
Yeah.
Tell me anything. Yeah, but it's not working at all for me. Oh, you're right. It does say it. Hanukkah first day. Okay.
Yeah,
Is that okay with you?
I'm fine to me, but I don't want to speak. I'm not speaking for anyone other than myself.
Well, speak for the two Jewish guys in the room, three Jewish guys.
right, exactly.
It's not, it's first time.
Fine with me.
Yeah. See, Hanukkah for everybody is not a religious holiday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not one of the top 3 or 4 or
The
10.
kids consider it a religious holiday because they get presents.
It's a lot of
Exactly,
fun.
but they get 8 persons.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is.
You have a slightly different.
Yeah, but we have 8 days to get.
Yeah, yeah,
presents.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why my kid liked it.
Yeah. You're
That's right.
Yeah, it's a lot of press. Okay,
Yeah.
the 15th at 6 p.m. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Great.
I don't know.
It's like the perfect time to.
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
I'll bring your friend.
Time to say.
Was the other one December 4th?
Yeah.
Yes.
at
December
6
4th at 6 and December 15th
that's it.
at 6.
And they're all here and on the line.
They're all here
Okay.
Awesome.
and they'll all be fun. Okay. Bring your jokes. Okay, we got a lot accomplished today. I'll kind of rework the outline here. I'll try to capture from the minutes all the volunteer names. We haven't really talked about the timing of the public forum, so just what that is. Let's defer that the next meeting.
And you still want me to
Yeah,
make a little,
forums,
like a
focus
proposal?
groups, whatever, yeah.
For what it's worth, I did have informal conversations with the league, and they did indicate, you know, if we want to use them as a I don't know, as one of the ways to get a forum organized, that they'd be willing to work with us.
Yeah, thank you. Good idea. Yeah, it's a good venue for a forum, a good forum for a venue, whatever. Okay. Any other miscellaneous thoughts? Then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good meeting.